Good evening. I can just hear the bells chiming, so I apologise if they get a little bit loud because we're on the hour, and of course they're going to bong 7 times. So good evening and welcome. It won't be long. I know you're all going to be flooding in a second, and I'm so excited to welcome you all into this live, especially this is the first, or the real first live since we started the Hodgepodge Blanket Crochet Along. So excited to have everyone taking part. I must admit, I'm a little bit overwhelmed with the sheer volume of people that had joining in and kind of taking part. There's just so much that's blown me away with this event, from the huge growth that I've seen in our Facebook community group, everyone being so lovely to everybody. Everyone's going to come and say hi Joanne. I'm live tonight both in the Facebook group and on my YouTube channel, so let me know where you're joining me from. I'm here at home in my little corner of Crochet World, and it's my favorite place to be. Now I have a huge list to go through this evening, but I know that ultimately you're here to find out who is the winner of the full copy of the printable version of the Hodgepodge Blanket Crochet Along. So I'm going to tell you more about that as we go through, what you're going to get if you win that prize. But also, if you see over my left shoulder, there's something else I need to tell you about as well, and that's about the grand prize that's going to be being given away at the end of this event, and I'm so excited to tell you a little bit more about that as well. So a huge hello to everyone that's joining us today. If you are in the Facebook group, if you want to pop out and quickly give permission so that I can see your name, because some of you've clicked the link, which is fabulous, so I know who you are, but some are just coming up as Facebook, and I need to know what your names are. So massive hello to Nancy, Barbara, Dana, Becca, Nancy, Donna. You're all here this evening, so huge thank you for joining me. More interestingly, where people are, Becca is moving to blooming London next week. That's exciting. Well, who knows? One day we might meet. So the whole point of this competition for the prize draw, it's not really a competition. I've just asked you to share your square, and it was, of course, if I can find it, I've got my blanket next to me. It was to share the first of our granny squares that were the first granny square that I shared with you, the granny spike square. This is my one. And the idea was that you made your square and you shared it yesterday by lunchtime so that I could see it, the world could see it, and it's been phenomenal. So many people have shared their square. I've got all of your names in a lovely little list, and a little bit later on, I'm going to do the draw so we can find out who's won. The colours that people have been using are beyond what my imagination could have even seen. We've had fall colours. I think some of my favourites, there's one that looks like a window pane, and it's just absolutely stunning the way that some of them have turned out. I love the way that everyone's interacting in the Facebook group as well, which is really nice to see. Where people are struggling, people are helping. You know, there's so much knowledge, so many stitches to be learned during this event, that there's going to be things that we find challenging. You may already have noticed that I'm finding some of the technology a little bit challenging, but we're getting over that as time goes on. Things are starting to work a little bit more already. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background information about what's happening next week, because if you weren't already aware, I'm having an operation next week. I'm actually donating my kidney to my mother-in-law on Thursday, which means that I'm not going to have my laptop, which I'm on right now. I'm not going to have that on my person for a few days. And I wanted to reassure you that everything is going to be looked after while I'm incapacitated. Well, what I mean is Wednesday, I'm still around. I'm just in hospital, kind of isolating on the ward. Thursday is the day of the operation. And then obviously I'm going to be out of it all day, but everything is scheduled so that all the blog posts will go live, all the patterns will be available, all the YouTube videos are scheduled, all the emails are correctly scheduled this time, and you're going to get everything you need to keep going throughout the Crochet Along. Now, within the Facebook group, I want to reassure you that I have some incredibly lovely people in my group who are going to be looking after you. We've got Christine, who is my tech editor. I'm going to put her in as a moderator into the group. We've also got someone who's taking part in the Crochet Along who I'm hoping is going to currently marked as an admin on my group, but I'm going to speak to Fran a little bit later as well. But everyone's there because she's in the middle of moving house. I've got some designer friends in there as well who are going to be able to help with anything that you need. So if while I'm in hospital, you need anything and I can't get to my phone, or I just physically can't pick up my phone, everything's going to be looked after. My husband's looking after my website, and everything else is scheduled. So just to reassure you, also to let you know that this wasn't exactly planned. I only found out about the operation 3 weeks ago, and by that point I'd already announced the crochet along was happening. So otherwise I would have rearranged things, if I'm honest, just so I could give you my full attention. And thank you so much. Oh, I know there's so many people that have already gone through, you know, donating and stuff. I'm not really that concerned. I have moments of like sheer panic of what I'm doing, and you know, it's more the aftermath. I would like to think I'm going to be up on my feet and back to normal really quickly, but I just don't know. So I'm still making sure that everything's going to be ready for the rest of the crochet along, just in case. Not for anything bad, but you know, just in case. I want to be able to make sure that I can be present with you and help you complete all the squares as you go, rather than kind of just be in the background. So I'm going to try and get back on my feet as quickly as possible. So that's next week. Now, obviously, I was hoping to go live every single Saturday. I don't even know if I'm going to be home by next Saturday, so I'll keep you updated. It might be that we just push next week's live kind of a little bit later, and we'll catch up a little bit later in the week. So I saw a comment. I've just seen a comment in the Facebook group along the lines of, "Oh, are we having the weekends off?" So we can catch up. And you know what? I probably should have done it and spread the crochet along a little bit more. But this blanket actually started out as very, oh, I'm sorry, Rita, that you didn't get a reminder. Welcome in. You've not missed much yet, really. Don't worry. We're just getting into the nitty gritty. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the inspiration behind the actual blanket crochet along itself, because this was an idea I had nearly 2 years ago. One of the things that got me into crochet designing was teaching people how to crochet. I literally love teaching, from face-to-face, online. Obviously, COVID put paid to a lot of that. And, you know, not being able to get together with people was kind of hard for me, actually. And building this community is kind of my way of giving back as well. I like to support people as they learn. I like to encourage people to keep learning. That's a huge thing for me, because with crochet there's loads of stuff I've never even done, and I'll admit there are some stitches in this blanket that I've never even considered doing, and it's been great for me because now I've got even more inspiration to do more designs. So out of the 6 squares that we've had already, I would love to know what your favorite has been so far. Now I can show you what they are because I've joined mine pretty much in order, kind of. So we have, today we've got the puff stitch trellis square. So did anyone like today's squares? Anyone finished it yet? I know I've seen Becky's, she's done hers. A lot of people like the iris stitch square, a lovely quick one. We had the pike stitch, which is actually one of my favorite stitches now. Blossom stitch, apologies about the blossom stitch square. And then the Trinity Square, which I know has been a bit of a challenge for a few people. One of the best tips we've had for the kind of Trinity stitch is definitely mark that first stitch where you know, on the way in, on the way out. When you work your last stitch, mark it. When you work your first stitch, mark it, because that will help you know exactly where to place that first single crochet and know which stitch you're putting that next, where you're working your first Trinity stitch into, because it's a little bit complicated, and maybe I didn't make the video kind of as clear as I could, so apologies for that. I'm going to be putting a stitch tutorial up on that pattern for you as well, so hopefully that will help too. So on that note, there are, obviously I've just put in here, they're going to kind of, you'll keep trying to catch up and that kind of thing. Someone loves the Trinity stitch, that makes me happy. Because a lot of people weren't in love with it. And I think because it was a tricky stitch, I completely understand. I actually was worried that people would find the spike granny stitch more complicated than most of the others because of where to place the spikes. And I love the fact that so many people just made their own variation of it. And please don't be worried if you did a variation and still shared your square, you're still in the giveaway. So don't worry about that. Yes, Rita, you should feel proud, most definitely. Dana's going to give the Trinity Stitch another go as well, which is kind of what this is all about. This isn't a race in any way, shape, or form. This is your opportunity, and for myself as well, to kind of learn new crochet stitches, learn new crochet techniques, and for me to find out more about what you want to learn. Because, as I said, this is what I'm all about. I love teaching people how to crochet, and for us to create a community where we're all bouncing off of each other and learning more. What else have we got? Okay. Now this one, I'm probably going to make you either think I'm an absolute horror or a genius. I'm not entirely sure. Now, no one's commented yet on my beautiful cardigan. This is my cold shoulder cardigan that I stitched up and released actually over a year ago now. It's July or June last year that this pattern released. It is made using, I want to say it's not the iris stitch. It's just the V stitch, I think, actually. And can I be honest? This is, I still have an end that I've not woven in. I just took it out of the wardrobe, and obviously I just normally tuck it in and crack on with my day. And there is still an end attached to this because there's been a lot of conversations about getting those. Me too. I'm telling everybody to do it. Weave your ends in as you go, because it doesn't feel like much when you look at one square. You'll do that tomorrow. Those ends are still going to be there on day 30 when we're looking to join our granny squares. And someone shared a story about how they literally spent 2 hours weaving their ends in, as opposed to doing like 10 minutes a day of just getting those ends done. So if you're a bit like me and you tend to just get away with it and leave the ends, tuck the ends into projects and never, ever weave them in, I have a top tip for you. And that is to pick a day where you're going to get all your squares from the week and weave those ends in, snip them off, and then stack them up and block them. Yes, I know. Now, whoever's just commented all their bags have ends in, I think I know who that is. I imagine that's Bernadine, because I know that's definitely her trick. But yeah, we all do it. We all tuck our ends in and try to get away with it as well. I'm proud of everybody who's up to date on their ends. But if you aren't up to date, tomorrow is the ideal day just to take 10, 20 minutes, sit down with your little pile of squares, weave those ends in, and then take your photos. And I know that a lot of people already do that. I will be honest enough to say I tuck my ends under my squares before I take the photo. And then I take the photo and no one can see them. Goodness me, I'm a horror. I know I'm a horror. So we have even more squares coming out next week. So we're already on what day are we on? Day 6. So day 7 tomorrow. If I could tell you what tomorrow's square was. Can I flip my screen? Let me see. Tomorrow's square. Oh, now, would you like to know what tomorrow's square is? If you give me a heart in the comments, if you would like, or a heart on the like button, if you would like to see what tomorrow's square is. I'll give it a few moments to see if people say yes. And then I might share with you a little bit of a sneak peek of what tomorrow's square is, because it's a little bit, it's one of my favorites, actually. It's one of my favorite stitches. Okay, we've already got one heart. Oh, we'll get a few more. Okay. So I'll have to show you in my granny square. Here it is. In my blanket, I mean. So I'm giving away everything here. So we have, can you see that one there? It's this one, the white one. This is, you're going to be doing the arcade stitch tomorrow, okay? So the arcade stitch for me is, I find it really interesting because it's unlike a normal shell stitch. It's really firm texture, and it almost creates like little diamonds in between these fans of stitches. So now that I've got all your hearts, I'd like to know if you're actually happy about the fact that's the next square. I find it quite a nice repetitive stitch. It's only 2-row repeat, and it really is quite one of my favorites. I have a pattern that I can tell you about in a minute, because it's to do with that basket behind me, that I've done, which is a super chunky pattern that uses the arcade stitch, and it's just super sized arcade stitch is just wonderful. So one other thing, just I promise you we are getting to that to tell you who has won. It's not long now. I wanted to kind of mention that there's a few people that are saying, oh, my squares are all different sizes. I haven't got the same stitches on all the sides, or my stitch counts are off on the borders and this kind of stuff. So I have just finished the joining video, which means that it's uploaded and ready for me to schedule and that kind of thing. Everything's written up, and I have included a detailed way of how to correct any mishaps, should we say, when it comes to counting stitches, because I'm human, you're human, we all make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes when I'm crocheting, and that's perfectly normal. We had a lovely meme shared in the group about the fact that in Irish folklore, we're actually encouraged to leave a mistake, because rather than crocheting in our soul, that mistake allows our soul to escape that project. And I really liked that. So I know that there is a mistake in my blanket. There really is. I'm going to show it to you in, I think it's week 3. I'm going to let everybody see it. I've not even remade it. I've kept my mistake in there just to show you that I'm human too, and we all make mistakes, and that's okay. So if you are finding that your squares are different sizes, that you've got too many stitches on one side, not enough on the other, please don't be overly concerned. If you want to remake a square when you get to the point of joining, you're more than welcome to, but actually this is a very forgiving pattern, and I've done it like that for a reason. I've even chosen a join that is going to allow us to correct those mistakes more easily than some of the other joins we can do. I'm going to find another mistake for you, because there are a lot of them in mine. So one of my squares that came up particularly small, and I have remade it now, was just this plain square. I'm not going to say any more about it. And actually, it's a lot smaller than most of my other squares. I tried blocking it, and obviously with acrylic, when you block it, you need to use heat, so steam to block it. Not on it, obviously that will melt it, but acrylic's a weird one to block because you can't just wet it and let it dry. That just won't do anything, but you actually need to use heat to set the stitches in place. I am going to do a lot more detailed information on blocking. I did send out something in my email yesterday, and I'll share it into the group tomorrow as well, just giving you an introduction to blocking itself and blocking the different types of fibers. But acrylic, because of the nature of the science behind it all, it can be a bit hard to set where you want it to. You have to really encourage it, and that means potentially stretching it as well. But actually the way we're going to join this blanket is going to mean that we're going to be able to correct so many mistakes from the sizing point of view as well. Good. So we've done that. I've got loads on my list. Okay, shall I tell you more about the basket? Where's it gone? There. So let me grab this basket. Hang on one second. I've sat on a cushion as well. Oh, please don't fall off. Oh, okay. Oh, it's so big. Now, there's in this basket. Can you see some of the stuff that's in this basket? Oh, you made it! Yay! So good to have you here. So we have in this basket, we have some mandala ombre, and this is in color pure. We have 3 Lion Brand Kubu, various balls of 100% cotton from Love Crafts in Aran weight and DK, so worsted or size 3. I have to put this down for a second. We have 1 Karen cotton cake in, what is this shade? I don't know what shade this is. Oh, Garden Oasis. And we have 5 balls of Sirdar Snuggly in 3-ply, which I think would make a great little blanket. And this is actually 55% nylon and 45% acrylic. We have this little thing here, which is a Karen chunky cake. So when I mentioned the arcade stitch and that I have a pattern in it, you can make this with one of my patterns. So everything in this basket has a pattern that relates to it. And all of this, I'm getting there, hang on. All of this is going to be given away to one lucky person at the end of this blanket crochet along. Can you even believe it? I am so excited. I cannot wait. Let me pop this down. Pop it back up there. So, oh, yeah, Judith's like, I'm the lucky person. I'm the lucky person. Now, I know there's quite a lot of yarn in that basket, and I know that a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on it. And there is going to be certain ways that you can get your hands on it. So that is the grand prize. Okay, I'm not going to say there aren't going to be some other little prizes, but even if you live abroad, no matter where you are in the world, I will take the hit for the shipping. It's going to be a gift. So I'm going to make sure that the value of it, I think I've calculated it properly. The value should be below anyone's import tax duty. Unfortunately, if it isn't, whoever wins will be liable for any import duties. But I mention that now, you know, got to have a disclaimer for these kind of things now. Thanks, people, for getting us out of the UK, getting out of Europe. But yeah, anywhere in the world, I'm going to ship that. That's not a problem. I'm so grateful for everyone taking part and sharing everything that they have so far, because it's allowing me to reach a wider community, for us to increase the size of our lovely little community and get more people learning and improving and upskilling in their crocheting, which is, oh, I just love it. I love it. So to win that mega prize, what you're going to have to do is you are going to have to complete your blanket. First and foremost, that's the first thing you're going to have to do. And I mean complete, joined with the border, and I want you to share a photo of it. Of course I do, because they're going to be stunning. I'm watching everybody stitch up these beautiful squares, and they're all in wonderful colours, from the pastels, the fall colours, through the monochrome, all the different ones that are there. So you are going to be able to do it. There is no, I'm taking the pressure off, okay? I'm not expecting you to be finished on the last day of the event. Don't you worry about that. I'm giving you more time, okay? So your finished blanket needs to be photographed and shared, ideally tagging me in using the hashtag and all that kind of malarkey. There will be official rules shortly. You've got by the 30th of September. So the last square is due to release on the 13th of September. On the 14th, the joining instructions will be released. On the 15th, the edging will be released. So then you've got 10 days, 9 days to get the blanket finished and photographed. Someone's asked. You can hide your ends. I don't mind. I'm not going to know, am I? No one's going to know. That's the joy of it. But that is hilarious. So yeah, that is the grand prize. So I just wanted to share that with you. This is what we're working towards. That's what you can win for finishing this beautiful blanket. And it will be beautiful. And it will be yours. You will have made every single stitch in this blanket. And it's just phenomenal. So speaking of prizes, let's have a little premiere about what you're going to win, or who someone is going to win this evening. Okay, so this is from all the people that took a photo of their granny spike square and shared it to Instagram, Facebook, in the group. All of you have been entered into this wonderful giveaway. And what someone's going to win today is they're going to win access to the full membership area of the Hodgepodge Blanket Crochet Along. So if you've never owned one of my products or one of my pattern bundles that I've hosted, you might not be aware of, I think it's pretty phenomenal actually. You get access to print and download every single one of the printed patterns. You need to, oh, the draw was finished. I'm sorry, if you hadn't entered your square before 12 p.m. yesterday, you won't be in this prize draw. So I'm sorry if you've just shared your square today, you did miss the cutoff. So this is everyone that shared it before 12 p.m. on Friday GMT. Had to have a cutoff, or else I'll be still looking. I'd still be looking. So inside that membership area, not only do you get every single one of the patterns printed, and they get released every single day in line with the Crochet Along, they also get access to a couple of extra printables, including a list of all the square names that they can pin, because you're going to have to be able to identify these at some point when you're going to join them. They also get their own little planner. So obviously at some point later on, we're going to be talking about layouts and how we can plan the layouts. And all of the people within the membership area who have purchased the actual Crochet Along itself, which is still available if you would like to purchase. It's currently available with a 25% discount. I might as well tell you, I'm not really giving you a plug, but if you would like to purchase it, you get all of this as well. But let's find out if you've won first. So you get access to this printable of all the square names, so you can pin them to them and keep an eye on which stitches are which. You get also get your own little square planner, so you can take your photos and insert them, and kind of, without having to spread them out everywhere, you can plan how you're going to lay out your squares. That goes live for anybody within the membership area on Monday. So you're going to be able to play around with your squares and start planning your layout on Monday, which is fun. So where did that drum roll go? I saw a drum roll. Right, bear with me. So I've got to share my screen, and I haven't done this live before. If everything goes wrong, I'll come back on in a second. Okay, 1 second. Let's share this screen. We're going to see a big list of names, hopefully. Let's go full screen. Right, are you ready? I'm going to press spin. And there we are. We have a winner. I'm going to write that down just quickly. Oh, let's stop clapping. I better go. I'll come back now. So there we are. It worked. Woohoo! So huge congratulations to Natalie Tanner. I hope you're watching and you're live and you can see that you've won. If not, don't worry. I'm going to go and tag you in the Facebook group because I think you are a Facebook user as well. So congratulations. You're going to win access to all of those lovely things. To all of you that sadly missed out, don't forget you can still purchase the crochet along. As I said, it's got 25% off until the end of the event, and then it will go full price. Remember, you're still going to have access to all the patterns. They're always going to be available on the website and on the blog and all that kind of stuff. So huge thank you for everyone that's joined this evening and kind of watched live with me. It's been wonderful to kind of chat to you. I am hoping I might sneak in a little live before, either when I'm in hospital or before I go to hospital on Wednesday, and keep sharing your squares because it's so wonderful to see them. If you're struggling, reach out, let me know. I'm here to help. I'm so pleased that you're all enjoying these different squares. Remember, tomorrow's square is the arcade stitch, and if you are lucky, you're going to have mastered it. So you're going to be ready to win that chunky cake to make this brilliant pattern. Now, this pattern is going to be available as a free download, so I'm not going to share it yet because it's going to feature in an event that's coming up very, very soon. Huge thank you for joining this evening. Thank you for taking part in the crochet along. I'm thoroughly enjoying sharing everything with you, and I will see you all back in the Facebook group in a little bit. Cheerio.